Hello everyone who's watching, and welcome back to my channel. Last time I talked about the 1974 film, Benji, a film that I said, while not a masterpiece, was both cute and worth checking out if you are a dog lover. There's really not too much that can be said about the original film itself, but a lot of my fascination with the Benji franchise doesn't come from the original film, but rather the many odd sequels that followed it. Benji starred in several sequels, 5 of which were theatrical. The creator, Joe Camp, seemed to think that the Benji franchise was gonna be the next big thing, and it's thinking like that led to one of the strangest cinematic dumpster fires of all time. Oh, Heavenly Dog. Oh, exclamation point, Heavenly Dog, is a film that was advertised as a movie in which Chevy Chase dies and comes back to life in the body of Benji with 48 hours to solve his murder. The main reason for a film such as this to even exist is that it was made as an attempt at making a Benji film geared towards the adult crowd. As the poster states, it's an adult tale of murder, mystery, and forbidden love. And for the record, I just want everybody to know just how much I love this poster. I have absolutely no idea what emotion this face is trying to convey, and I love the addition of Benji looking at a woman's breast through a magnifying glass, and she looks oddly chill about it. Oh, Heavenly Dog follows the story of Benjamin Browning, played by none other than comedian Chevy Chase. He's a private investigator who manages to fall in love with a woman named Jackie Howard only seconds after she collides into him. But, you know, that's just how love be in movies.
Oh. Thanks for saving me. It's crystal wine again.
The least I could do after dumping you in that puddle.
You're an American.
You're not.
He's in the middle of investigating a case when he's killed by a mysterious stranger. Wacky shenanigans ensue as he's sent to the afterlife and told to return to Earth to solve his murder. But the only way he can return to Earth is in the body of a dog.
I'm a Garrett!
Oh, Heavenly Dog may just sound dumb enough to work, but let me tell you, it does not. They say that probably the most important part of any film is the opening of your movie because it sets the tone for what your movie's going to be. Well, this movie does exactly that.
Ooh, baby, you couldn't have done a worse thing to me. You'd have taken an arrow and run it right through me.
One of the film's most blaring problems is that it's ugly. You'd think it's just because of the rain that it looks that way, but the dark, cloudy, depressing scenery never really goes away. London looks like a complete dump and the last place anyone would want to visit. Even the afterlife just ends up looking like an office building. And if that weren't bad enough, the beginning of this film also introduces us to the also hilariously wacky comic relief character named Freddy. His sole reason for being in this movie? Gay jokes.
Umbrellas aren't the only prejudices people have, you know.
Freddie.
Sorry, I was just reaching for the gear shift.
There's nothing very intriguing about this film. The idea itself is at least kind of funny to think about, and with a better script and director, could have been a decent film, I guess, but everything that could have been something feels very downplayed. Chevy Chase's murder is extremely underwhelming. You think a film such as this would at least try to play up the whimsical element of dying and going to the afterlife just a bit, but it's treated in such a mundane manner, like Chevy Chase could not care less that he was murdered.
That son of a bitch set me up.
Please watch your language, Mr. Browning. Remember where you are.
The whole film has that overall vibe to it. There's no reason for the audience to really care about what's happening because Chevy Chase himself doesn't really seem to care either. His performance in this movie can be compared to that time Bill Murray voiced Garfield.
Watch out. You see, you can't touch this.
Pretty much every joke in this film falls flat on its face. A lot of times it can be difficult to tell if a line was actually intended to be funny or not. The one thing I remember laughing at in this film was when an old lady started hitting one of the villains with her umbrella.
Did you let him go? What did you? What happened? Let me explain.
A lot of the things in this film that are intended as quirky or funny actually come off more as uncomfortable or even creepy. One of the first things Chevy Chase says after becoming Benji is a dick joke.
It's amazing how much bigger everything is from down here. Well, not everything.
Now I do realize that the dog playing Benji in this film is actually the original Benji's daughter, so in that sense it's female, but even with that said, I don't think anyone in the right mind ever wanted to have to think about Benji's dick. A large portion of so-called jokes in this film revolve around the fact that Chevy Chase is now a dog, so he can get away with being a creepy pervert. Keep in mind that the character Jackie has no idea that Benji is really Benjamin. There's a lot of other desperate attempts at humor that fall flat. A lot of scenes with Benji is just Chevy Chase monologuing the dog's thoughts, commenting on everything he sees. It really feels like they told him to watch these clips they'd recorded and just improvise, cause, you know, he's a comedian, right? He's gotta say something funny eventually. There's also a quick lightsaber joke in this movie. Don't ask me about it, I'm just as confused as you are.
We had it before Star Wars.
Music also plays an important role in this film, in the sense that it's probably the only thing that might stick with you afterwards. It mostly consists of two songs, the first one being Arrow Through Me by Paul McCartney. This one only plays in the beginning during the depressing rain montage.
Come on, get on the way, bring your love.
And the other song that plays quite a few times throughout this movie is Return to Paradise, sung by Elton John.
Goodbye doesn't mean this has to be the end.
There's also Song for Guy by Elton John in this movie, but that's mainly instrumental, so I just ignore that. If it weren't obvious enough already, the whole Benji for adults idea doesn't really work. There's swearing and once again creepy sex jokes, but it's nothing anyone wanted from a Benji movie. What's strange to me about all of this is that the original film and most of its sequels are advertised as family films. That means it's made for all people, and from my experience, most adults are perfectly fine with taking their kids to a family movie or even seeing it for themselves. This was actually the first Benji movie to be distributed by a major movie studio. In this case, it was 20th Century Fox. What a terrible gamble. Of all of the Benji movies to distribute, they got stuck with the absolute worst one. The whole Chevy Chase in the body of Benji is really confusing. They never actually say that the dog is Benji in the movie, so you'd assume it was just deceptive marketing, but then the film ends with this line.
Well, now that we're on the same level, so to speak, what do you want me to call you? Benjamin? BJ? Or what?
Not Benjamin, I hate it. BJ. Or some of my friends used to call me Benji.
Better stick with BJ. You're not the, Benji type.
So, what I got out of this film is that this is actually a prequel, and this whole time, Benji has just been Chevy Chase using a dog's body as his vessel, which is pretty messed up. Chevy Chase is also the worst possible person to be put in charge of a dog's body.
You know what the penalty for animal cruelty is in this state?
No, sir, I don't.
Well, it's probably pretty stiff.
The whole ending of this movie in general is pretty messed up. Jackie gets murdered after saving Benji's life, and she's brought back to the world of the living in the form of a cat. But wouldn't the happier ending be for her to come back as a dog? I don't know anything about like interspecies relationships between dogs and cats, and to be honest, I never wanted to think about it, but this movie put that thought in my head, so thank you for that.
You stay down here for me. The least I could do is to come back and keep you company.
Oh, Heavenly Dog is a mess and one of the worst dog films ever made. When it's not being creepy, it's actually extremely boring. I had no investment in finding out who murdered Chevy Chase, and I found myself dozing off while watching it. I do not recommend this movie to anyone. Do yourself a favor and just skip it, or just forget it even exists. So that's all for now. I thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Goodbye.